I want to say this to Loreal. You are being racist. We bleed the same way. When we go to the toilet, the same content comes out of our body. Regardless of what society is saying and what you are saying, I refuse to accept that I am not important. I refuse to accept that I cannot be catered to. I refuse to be excluded. The topic that I'm going to talk about in today's video, if it does not concern you, if you are not affected by what I'm going to talk about in this video, you do not have to leave your opinion if it is negative. I am saying that now, and I am saying it because of my experience when it comes to this kind of topic in the past. This is really hard for me, and to most people this might not be a big deal, but to me, and I'm sure to most of you guys as well, this might be a big deal as it is to me. Okay, I am actually shaking because I am so upset, and I am trying to compose myself. I want to talk about inclusivity when it comes to beauty products and brands in particular. And the things that I'm going to say in today's video are mainly targeted towards brands in Australia and also in the UK and some brands in the US as well. But I do know that the US is more diversified when it comes to their product when comparison to the UK and Australia. And also I do also want to point out that UK is also a little bit more diversified when it comes to bringing out products for people of color in comparison to Australia. Okay, so I am based in Australia. If you don't know, now you know. And what I like to say is beauty brands in Australia do not cater for people of color whatsoever. Maybe 2% of them wants to cater for women of color, but the remaining 98% just caters for non-persons of color. And I am so tired of talking and emailing and trying to contact brands to include us in the products that they bring into our stores, particularly drugstores. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a backstory about my experience with Loreal. And I'm saying Loreal because Loreal owns a lot of companies, as most of you guys might know, and that includes Maybelline, NYX, and Estee Lauder, and so on and so forth. So on the 15th of November 2016, I uploaded a video talking about lack of shades for people of color in Australia. And in that video, I do remember vividly crying out and just telling beauty brands to please notice us and know that people of color do buy makeup. This is not the 1950s. This is not the 1800s. This is 2016. As I said, I made this video in 2016. Now, that video didn't really get much traction, which I'm not really surprised, so that's okay, you know what I mean? A few months later, I was watching a video on Loreal YouTube channel, Loreal Australia that is, and I was scrolling through the videos and I was just looking for someone who looks a little bit like me. And I found this lady, I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but she's also a content creator on YouTube. She did a video with Loreal, talking about, doing her brows. I believe it was her brows. And when I saw that, I felt proud, a person of color is on Loreal Australia's YouTube channel, which you hardly see, even on mainstream, TV. You hardly see people of color on TV advertisement here in Australia. So I was quite pleased to see her on Loreal's YouTube channel. And after I finished watching that video, I continued to scroll and I was looking to see whether or not there's another person of color that they use, to kind of represent us, to showcase their products, to show how their product would apply on a person of color. Lo and behold, there was no other person of color showcased on the YouTube channel. Now that really reignited that fire in me that I had when I uploaded that video that I uploaded on the 15th of November 2016. And that same night, literally that same night, right after watching that video, I sat down and I constructed an email. Now, I typed this email in a separate Microsoft Word and I attached it into an email and I sent it to L'Oreal, Priceline, and a couple of news contacts as well. So I sent this email on the 1st of June 2017 and I sent it to 4 people or 4 organizations, if you may. I sent it to 9 News Australia. I sent it to the news desk at The Age, the Age newspaper. I sent it to the Guardian newspaper, and I also sent it to L'Oreal as well. Now, the subject of the email read, "An open letter to beauty industries and outlets." My subtitle for the open letter read, "Women of Color Buys Makeup Too." And I talked about the fact that, when I walk into stores, particularly pharmacies, Priceline, Chemist Warehouse, when I walk into store and I go into the makeup style, you know, trying to find that foundation that's my shade, trying to find a concealer that's my shade, trying to find a powder that could be my shade, and I end up walking out in disappointment. So I wrote all these things in the open letter that I sent to the companies. I also sent the email to Revlon as well. There was no response from Revlon. There was no response from Priceline. There was no response from the other news contacts that I sent it to. 2 days later, I did receive a response from The Age because a lady at The Age contacted me. Her name is Melissa. She contacted me and she asked for my permission to run the story and with a possibility of the story going to print. I being featured in the Age newspaper. And I said yes. So she set up a photographer who came to my house, took a photo of me, you know, and a photo of foundation swatches on my arm to show what I was talking about in terms of lack of shades for people of color in Australia. And lo and behold, a couple of days later, Melissa wrote a piece about my open letter to the brands, and it was published on the Age website. Now I'm going to put that link down below if you're interested to go and give it a read yourself. About a week or so later as well, the story also made it to print, and I have it right here and I am going to show you. So this is the story right here, just about half of the page, which I believe was, you know, which I thought was really cool. You know, I never thought I would get any response from anybody, but I just kind of thought, just try, because you never know. Hopefully, you never know, maybe this is going to be the thing that's going to you know, cause for these brands to finally start listening. And I'm really grateful to Melissa Singer for contacting me and taking the story to print and also putting it online, and we started a conversation. If you go online and you read the article as well, you're likely to find something along the line of this. Our brands NYX Professional Makeup, Maybelline, and L'Oreal Paris are all committed to broadening their foundation shade ranges to cater to every woman's need. This was said by Christine Burke, the Director of Communications at L'Oreal Australia. When Melissa also spoke to L'Oreal, Christine Burke also said to Melissa that they would like to work with me, and I'm going to read it, and I quote, Miss Burke said L'Oreal was keen to work with Miss Joseph to help find a solution. I'm Miss Joseph. Priceline's General Manager of Merchandise, Liz Webster, said the company stocked 612 shades across 21 brands and was always open to expanding its range. There is very low consumer demand for very dark shades, and therefore the major brands have not yet felt it viable to bring the very broadest shades to our markets. Additionally, we would welcome Ms. Joseph to work with us directly to explore the development of darker foundations for our in-house Models Prefer range. So after this, L'Oreal contacted me, or I contacted them after Melissa told me that they said they would like to speak to me, and I also tried to contact Priceline on numerous occasions, and I was finally able to get a hold of them about a week or so later. Now, speaking of L'Oreal first, you know, Christine and I, you know, we made an arrangement, and I went to the L'Oreal headquarters here in Melbourne, and I went to meet with them. This was when I met with NYX Professional Australia. This was when I met with Maybelline and Lancome as well. It was during this meeting that the lady from Maybelline told me that the main reason why they don't, and I'm almost going to quote her word for word because this is still ringing in my head. She said to me that the reason why they don't have shades available for people of color here in Australia is because of two reasons. One, the shelf space. There's not enough shelf space to have all the products laid out in stores. Okay. Two, because they have to cater to the majority first. That is what, I kid you not, that is what she said to me. They have to cater to she said, oh, unfortunately. And as she was trying to say it, you could see that she was trying to, you know, deliver it in a, I don't know, she was trying to deliver it gently, but I'm like, just spit it out. She said they have to cater to the majority first, meaning we are not the majority. Caucasians or beige shades, porcelain shades, these shades are considered majority here in Australia, literally. Before that meeting, I never felt accepted every time I go into store to buy makeup or whatnot, you know. And after that meeting, that feeling just felt worse. And after that meeting, I sat down and I constructed an email to thank them for taking the time to sit with me and to hear my story and, you know, hearing our cry and whatnot. And in that email, I also made other suggestions to, you know, give us a trial, like to please, you know, bring shades to Australia and, you know, And I try to tell them as much as possible in the email that people of color do buy makeup. Now we always have to outsource our product. We end up spending $20 extra to buy our product from overseas, especially from the US or the UK, because we can't find our shade here in Australia. And we're sick and tired of that. I said things along this line in those emails, and the way the emails was responded to, like, I appreciated the time they took to meet with me. I appreciated the time they took to respond to me. I appreciated the time spent they gave me about the products that are coming, especially the Lancome shades. But I wasn't really interested in the Lancome shades, to be honest, because I was mainly fighting to have, you know, wide range of shades that companies like Maybelline, L'Oreal, NYX, or any drugstore brand, I was finding to have those wide range of shades available for everybody, and not just Caucasians, not just people with beige tones, porcelain tones, tan, warm tan, tan sand, not just people with those shades. I also want the chocolate shades, the brown shades, the almonds, the golden almonds, the walnuts. What are those shades? Those are the shades that I'm also after in drugstore, not really high-end product. The reason why I've spent 2,000 hours explaining this backstory to you guys is because I went into Priceline today and I almost cried when I got there. Okay, you guys might be familiar with this foundation. This is the Maybelline Superstay 24-hour full coverage foundation that just came out a few months ago. In the US, this is according to the Maybelline US website, this foundation comes in 16 shades. In the UK, I believe there's about 14 shades available. I can't remember. I bought this foundation in the UK and I am holding 70 Cocoa. The shade names in the UK or in US and Australia is different. Australia goes by 2 digits, UK goes by the 2 digits, meanwhile US goes by the 3 digits, you know, 350, 355, what have you, okay? But that's not the point of what I'm trying to say. So this foundation comes in 16 shades. When I went into Priceline today, I saw 14 shades of this foundation in store. 14 shades. If you don't know why I'm saying that by now, please think about it again. This foundation comes in 16 shades, and Maybelline themselves told me last year that the reason why they don't cater to people of color, the reason why they don't have the brown shades, the cappuccinos, the caramel, or, you know, the chocolate shades, is because there's no shelf space and they have to cater to the majority first. Now, I'm targeting that there's no shelf space thing that she said. Can you explain why you have 14 shades of this foundation in store and you can't make room to add 2 more shades? Why can you not make room to just add the remaining 2 shades? That's the question that I would like answered. I am sick and tired of companies telling us, oh, there's no shelf space, we have to get it to the majority, people of color don't buy makeup. I am sick and tired of it. We are now in 2018. We are no longer in the 1600s. We're no longer in the 1800s. We're no longer in the 1900s. We're not even in the year 2000. We are in 2018. Everyone is evolving. We're buying makeup. So please, I don't want anyone to be telling me all this cock and bull story about people of color don't buy makeup. I call BS on that, because that should not be the excuse to why you are not catering to us. I go into Priceline and I see 6 shades of Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation. Meanwhile, the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation comes in about 30 shades now. I see 6 shades in some stores. I see 10 shades or whatever in some stores. And also, I went into Mecca. Now, let's go into the high end a little bit, just a little bit, even though we're kind of fighting for drugstore affordable foundations here. The high-end foundations, for example, I wanted to get the new Bobbi Brown Skin Longwear, whatever it's called, foundation, the one that just came out. And recently, I was speaking to the lady on Instagram, and she said to me, I don't know if it's a lady or a man, I think it was a lady, and she said to me that the full range of the full shades will not be available in store, but they are available online, which means you can't go in store and physically swatch the shades and decide to buy the foundation right then and there. You just have to go on a whim and buy the foundation that you feel like might be and buy the shade that you feel like might be your shade online. Now, I was finally able to get 2 samples after going to one store and they're telling me, oh, literally there was no dark shade in Mecca. I had to go to Myers, and the dark shades that were there were warm almond and almond. So 6.5 and 7. These are the only dark shades that was there. I am going to make what in my opinion is a bold statement. I'm going to tell you guys now, and when I say you guys, I am speaking to the brands. I'm speaking to Maybelline, L'Oreal, NYX as well. NYX does have all the foundation shades in Australia now, which is fantastic, and they did promise me that they were bringing it, and now I believe everything is here, you know, in the Total Control Drop foundation. The powders are still lacking in some darker shades. The powders that I bought recently, I had to get them when I was in the UK, but they are expanding, which is great. But I would like to say this to L'Oreal, because L'Oreal is the big mama that owns all these babies, okay? Maybelline, NYX, all these other brands. I want to say this to L'Oreal. You are being racist. You are being racist through the act of exclusion. You are excluding people of color in Australia. You are being racist. I am telling you that right now. And I apologize if, actually, no, I do not apologize. You are being racist. According to Racial Discrimination Act in Australia, what you're doing is a definition of racism. Think about it, get your act together and start including us. And stop telling us that there's no shelf space. Stop telling us that you have to cater to the majority first. We are all majority. We are all one. If we were all to cut ourselves open, I'm sorry to be a bit graphic, if we were to cut ourselves open, we all bleed red. I don't bleed black blood because I'm a black girl. You do not. No white girl bleeds white blood because they're white people. I do not bleed black blood because I'm a black girl. We all bleed the same color. We bleed the same way. When we go to the toilet, the same content comes out of our body. Regardless of what society is saying and what you are saying, I refuse to accept that I am not important. I refuse to accept that I cannot be catered to. I refuse to be excluded. But fight to be included, and I will keep fighting. Now, I do get tired of fighting and messaging and contacting and trying to get an update, but I refuse to accept the fact that you cannot bring deeper shades to Australia to cater to people of color. I refuse to accept it because we're no longer in the 1900s. We are now in 2018. So you cannot come to me and tell me that you're not being racist, because this is what you're doing. What all these brands are doing, including brands in the US, brands in the UK, brands, especially brands in Australia, what all you brands are doing by excluding us when you're bringing out shades. Now, I try not to speak about the Tarte foundation that came out because I know that when I start speaking about it, I'm either going to yell or I'm either going to start crying. I try not to speak about some companies that bring out some stupid foundation range, and they say, oh, you know, our new foundation, and they're trying to celebrate their new foundation or their new concealer. They're trying to celebrate their new launch. I try not to speak about it, but I am here telling all you brands now, every single one of you, high-end, low-end, or whatever, drugstore, affordable brands, all you blankets, umbrella companies, I am telling you now that you excluding people of color in your product launch, you are being racist. Take it however you may, take it, you know, however you want to. You are being racist. And I'm pretty sure if I were to go into the, you know, racial act, if the US has one, if the UK has one, you know, I will find the definition of racism there will fit into you excluding people of color from being able to enjoy the same opportunities that other colors are experiencing and are enjoying. Do you know how many people walk into Priceline? Do you know how many people walk into pharmacies, you know, into drugstores, and they buy their makeup and they walk out happy? And do you know how many people walk into that same store, stand next to those same people who will happily find what they're looking for, And we end up looking sad or mad. I no longer want to look sad or mad when I go into stores. I know to some people, makeup might not be important. Most people say it's just makeup, you know, it's just foundation, it's just concealer. You're a black girl, go and open your own company, go and, you know, launch your own foundations and do your own shades. How many people of color should be doing that? When the article launched on Facebook, that's what people were commenting. I was reading it. Sometimes I would cry, sometimes I would laugh, and I'll just look at people like, and sometimes I'll be mad. You opening your mouth or sitting on a computer typing, you should open your own business. You should start launching your own foundation shades. Do you not? I have thought about that, but that is not the point. If every person of color start, you know, that is not the point. The point is inclusion. If you can say to me that, oh, if these companies are not bringing out what you want them to bring out for you, create your own. Can you do that as well? How would you feel if you go into store and you don't find what you don't feel represented, you don't feel included, you don't see a picture of someone that looks like you on the poster, you don't see a video of someone that looks like you when they advertise in makeup, you don't see any representation of you whatsoever? How would you feel? How would you feel being unrepresented? How would you feel? Please look within yourself and answer that question before you say anything else out loud with your mouth or with your hands. Because a lot of people just open their mouth and they just say nonsense and spill guts and spill nonsense and type nonsense and say, oh, it's just makeup. Don't say Australia does not accept, you know, people of color because of makeup. It's not just makeup. It's not just about the makeup. It's about being included and feeling that you're included. So please think about that before you say anything stupid. And back to the brands. All brands, not just those in Australia, but particularly to those in Australia, stop being racist through the act of exclusion and accept all race, all colors. Celebrate all colors. Celebrate all colors through the act of inclusion. Don't be racist through the act of exclusion. There is very low consumer demand for very dark shades, and therefore the major brands have not yet felt it viable to bring the very broader shades to our market. If there is no supply, how do you expect for there to be a demand? I think you need to go back to economics class and go and learn, you know, supply and demand. If there is no supply, how do you expect for there to be a demand? And even now that we are showing that there is demand, we're all messaging you. I've seen the comments. I've seen people talking about it all over social media. There is now an obvious demand. You're still not supplying, and you still had the audacity to say there is very low consumer demand for very dark. There is very low consumer demand for very dark shades. How dare you? How dare you just sit there and lie? Do your research. Like, don't just open your mouth and spill things that should not be spilled. Please, I beg you, do your research before you say things like that. Because there is demand now, sis. Bro, sis, there is now demand. Supply. If you supply, we will surprise you. Loreal said they would like to sit with me and, you know, discuss and work together, whatever. Well, I sat with them and discussed, and I just felt like it was just part of a PR thing. And I'm telling you now, if you Loreal, if you're watching this, I'm gonna say it to your face as well when I see you again, because I have had almost a year to gather my thoughts. I felt like that was a PR thing. It was a PR stunt, just to say, oh yeah, let's just hear what she's going to say, and then we'll just let it go. And Revlon, I see you. I see you ignoring my messages. I see you ignoring everything. I see it. Don't worry. God is coming for you. Don't worry. I see it. Just keep excluding. And when you supply it, if you're not using us, people of color, I'm not saying me, you don't have to use, I don't need your money. You ain't gotta use me to promote your stuff. You don't have to. Just find other black, brown people to advertise the deeper shades you're bringing to Australia, to the US, to the UK, and I Kid you not. I'm telling you, take my word for it. Once we start seeing that you're using people of color to advertise the shades, that means we will know that, oh my God, the deep shades are available in store, and we will start buying your stuff. So don't even sit there and tell me there's low consumer demand when you're not supplying and you're not using us to showcase the product that you're supplying us. I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of not feeling included, and I am about to cry. So I'm going to end this video now. Please share this video, share it with whomever has the ears to listen and has the hands to do something about it, or anyone else that can share things. Just share it, because I don't know what I'm about to break down, and I'm not going to allow this brand to keep extracting tears from my face any longer. So I am done. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something from it, and I'll see you guys in my regular video. I love you guys. Bye.